Welcome to Garden Wise Adventures. My name is Malie, and today it's time for another plant of the week. It's late in the evening and I decided I wanted to do this video on sage. I wanted to talk to you about the varieties of sage and how easy it is to grow. Now, sage is from the family Salvia. There's a lot of ornamental sages, but there's a lot of ornamental sage varieties that are also edible. Or maybe you could say it opposite. There's a lot of edible sages that are ornamental. Now, I live in Utah, zone 6/7. Sometimes we see zone 6 winters, sometimes we see zone 7 winters. Actually, lately, most of the time we just see zone 7 winters. But I have seen one zone 5 winter here. So let me start with my favorite one. We'll show you this sage that I have, and then we'll move on to some of the other newer ones that I've planted. So this right here is a 15-year-old Burgarten sage. It's an edible sage, just like regular garden sage is. They have beautiful purple flowers. Very sparse, that I only get about this many on this 8-foot wide plant every single year. So the flowers are sparse on this one. If you go for regular garden sage, you'll get more flowers. But the leaves are what's the ornamental part. They're a larger leaf, but they have that same sage flavor. And this plant right here is semi-evergreen over the winter. There is always sage for me to harvest. I actually don't harvest and dry my sage because I always have it available anytime I want to use it. This sage right here is on a dry hillside. The water on the irrigation, it gets that one line for this entire patch right here. There's another line down here that it's slowly creeping towards. But it gets turned on once every 2 weeks or so. In the past, it rarely got any water. Now, sage is really hardy. Depending on the variety of sage that you have, it can be hardy anywhere from zones 4 to zones 9. Now, I do have one sage that I'll show you, an edible sage, that says that it's hardy to zone 7, but then other places that I read it's hardy to zone 6. And I'm wondering if it's how it's protected or whether or not drainage has anything to do with it. Now, sages do not like a lot of water. They do not like any fertilizer. They do like full sun. The one thing that they cannot tolerate is damp soil that doesn't drain very well, and they can't tolerate shade. So if you have a full sun, well-drained area, sages do really, really well. And let me show you the other varieties that I have, and the rest of them are pretty new. So this right here is a newly planted garden sage. It's going to probably get about 4x4, maybe 6x6. Might even get as big as my Burgarten sage. Now, the leaves are pointier and longer, but it has the exact same flavor and scent as the Burgarten sage. So one more time. This is the leaf shape and size of the Burgarten sage. Let's compare it. With your plain garden sage. So you can see the leaf shape is a little different. Flavors are very, very similar. Now, this is another sage that is just like your regular garden sage. Same scent, same leaf shape, but the new growth is purple. This is called purple sage, and it is fantastic. Now, I had a large one for about 10 years until I cut all water off to the area where it was growing, and it didn't like that at all. It did need some supplemental water. Like I said, the other sage that I have, the Burgarten sage, gets watered once every 2 weeks, and it's gone longer in the past. But they do need some water. Now, this purple sage has been in this pot for about 3 years, and I water it maybe once a month. This year I've only watered it twice. Now, we have gotten a lot of rain. I don't know how it would have done without the rain, but when I watered it, it was because it was completely bone dry, but it wasn't wilting yet. It may have been able to even go longer without watering. But I don't fertilize this pot at all. What I'm actually going to do is I am going to take some softwood cuttings of it, pull off the lower leaves, stick it in pots with potting soil, and see if I can get that rooted and get a couple more in my backyard, because I absolutely love the color of these. Now, this is a new variety for me. This is tricolor sage. Look at all the colors there. You've got greens, you've got pinks, and you've got white. It's absolutely gorgeous, and from what I've heard, this sage is a little less hardy than the other sages. So we're going to trial it out here, see how it does, but I think it will be just as drought tolerant as the other sages. And with the rest of the plants out here, I think it's going to be a gorgeous pop of color and interesting texture. So we're just going to trial that. We'll take you along on its growth cycle, see how it does, and I'm hoping that it's hardy enough to overwinter here. So if you're looking for an easy to grow, hardy, ornamental, edible herb, sage is definitely the way to go. Very easy to grow. They don't take over the area. The Bergarten sage behind me that is so wide, 8 feet wide, I could cut that back and it would be absolutely fine. You can divide them if you don't want them to get that big. They're just an easy plant to take care of. So I would love to hear if there are any other types of sage that I've missed. There doesn't seem to be as many varieties as there are of thyme, but I would love to hear the ones that you're growing, and I would especially love to hear if you live in a cooler climate and if you have the tricolor sage over winter. So hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If it has been helpful, I hope you like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and go have a wonderful garden adventure.